Alright, I'm going to try to make this intro short, but this story is not mine. I really kind of forgot to give credit to the actual writer of the story. So the writer of the story will link in the description, and the part 1 and 2 will be linked in the description as well if you have not listened to those two. I'm going to be posting a lot of videos today, hopefully. I have like a few hours to post stuff. But I really hope you guys enjoy this story. Bye! Ciel's First Fiance. Chapter 3, New Acquaintance. The carriage ride had been quite boring without Jason. Yes, he had a straight and hardly, if ever, smiled, but he kept Wyan from feeling lonely with his peaceful and quiet presence. Their minds started drifting to their past, like it usually did, when there was nothing to do. They would think of, before they met Ciel, they would think of their father and what he was like before his business became huge. He had drowned in paperwork. He used to play with them almost every day, and so would their mother. But that was when her sickness was starting to show, and she stayed in her room much more. Then their father's work started to pile in, so he would lock himself in his study, not coming out for anything. He would have his food sent to his room, to his study, and would sleep in the spare bed in the room too. Wyan started to feel neglected. They would think depressing thoughts that no 4-year-old should have to think. That is when their father finally unlocked himself from the darkness of his office and introduced them to Ciel Phantom Hive. He was a very shy boy hiding behind his father's legs. He had lovely raven hair and amazing blue eyes. Wyan finally had someone to play with after weeks of being alone, so they were very excited. They went over to talk to the boy, who was still hanging around his father. "Hello, I'm Wyan." "Hello." Wyan went over and greeted him, trying to sound as nice as they could, just like their father told them to. Unfortunately, their loud greeting had scared the poor boy, and as he turned around, he fell over on his own feet and onto his back. "Ow!" He rubbed the back of his head where it hurt, as tears started to swell in his eyes. Wyan was horrified. The first friend that she was able to talk to, she had tripped him over and made him cry. She quickly tried to make up for it. Oh my gosh, are you okay? Does it hurt? Let me help you." She bombarded the boy with questions to check his well-being. But her overexcitement caused the boy to be even more scared. Wyan saw these, and tears started to flood their eyes as well. They let out a quiet whimper as they tried to stop their tears. Their father heard them quiet cry and turned to see what was the matter. He saw what was going on and sighed in annoyance. Ciel's father heard his sigh and followed his gaze toward the two children. When he saw what was going on, he chuckled as he went to pick up his son. Wyan's father doing the same. "Wyan, what did you do now?" Her father gave Her, her father gave them a handkerchief that they used to dry their eyes on as she watched Ciel's father help up Ciel. Well, I got excited to have someone to play with because you and Mother are spending less time with me. Ryan's father began to understand where the story was going and began to stroke his daughter's hair as she continued. So when you said I had someone to play with, I got a little overexcited. Sorry, Father. She bowed her head apologetically and fiddled with the hem of their white ribbon. Their father sighed and bent down to their level and gave them a hug. Ryan can still remember the warmth from their father that day. They felt like their father actually noticed them. So they was upset with the warmth left there. As he stood up, he took his daughter's hand and walked back over to the phantom hives. This time the axe had been switched. Ciel was now the one pouncing in his boots waiting for Ryan. And there was the one who was hiding behind their father. Ciel pounced over to them and grabbed their hand. The two fathers watched as Ciel gave it a slippery, childish kiss, and Ryan's face erupted into different shades of red and pink. The two children ran off to play, make a bond that neither of them would forget. The carriage made a sudden stop, which knocked Ryan from their memories. They knew how far the cemetery was, and even while daydreaming, she could tell it hadn't been that long. She waited for a few minutes just in case another carriage was passing, but after a long while, Ryan finally got out to investigate. Their carriage driver was on the road arguing with another driver. Ryan was about to storm over to her driver and ask what was so important that when they noticed a small boy on the ground. Without thinking, she brushed over to the boy and knelt on the floor. Her driver finally noticed and gasped as he saw what they were doing. Ryan had a small boy's head on her lap as she checked for injuries while stroking his hair. My lady, that boy is a peasant. He's shall dirty your dress with his enough. They couldn't stand hearing a small boy being criticized by something who lives near enough to say the same way. The boy looked a few years younger than she was, maybe 6 years younger. He had chocolate brown hair, and dirt had caked his pale skin and rags that he wore as clothes. What happened to the boy? Ryan continued to pet the boy as she questioned the older males. The other carriage driver spoke up. Well, was driving my passenger to his destination when the bloody idiot swerved into the wrong lane and his horses crashed into mine. Ryan cringed slightly as she tried to ignore his accent and focus on what he was saying. Well, I did so to try and avoid the boy that ran into the road. One of his horses knocked the kid unconscious. Ryan's own driver spoke up this time and pointed to one of the bussing horses. When she looked back, she saw a large gash on the side of the boy's head and a small line of blood dropping onto his cheek, where the horse had kicked him. They brought out their own handkerchief and brushed the blood. They brought the boy up onto their knees before wobbling to try and stand up, having to have their driver keep her on her feet. Their driver keep them on their feet. They rested the boy's head on her chest and held his back on the legs. "Milady, what are you doing?" "Forget the cemetery. We're going back home with this boy." The driver took taken aback, and a noble taking home a peasant, unheard of. Meanwhile, the other driver looked disgusted at Ryan. "What on earth is taking that long?" The passenger of the other carriage finally decided to exit and reveal themselves. He was a boy about the same age as Ryan, maybe slightly older. He had gorgeous blonde hair and light blue eyes. He wore a purple jacket and waistcoat, and black booty shorts, and black socks with brown boots up to the knees with purple bows on them. Behind him a man with a stonic face which reminded him of Jason. He wore a black suit and glasses. He had black hair. Ryan stood up straight as the boy and his butler walked over. What is the matter? We have a place to be." Ryan looked the new boy up and down and confirmed to them he was indeed a spoiled brat. The stirring unconscious boy wiggled in their arms, reminded them that they needed to get the boy back to the mansion, so they alerted their driver. "Driver, we're done here. Let's go." He nodded and scurried back to the carriage before trying to round up one of the horses that had escaped the reins. The boy then took notice of them and who they were carrying. "Hey, that boy who ran into the road, Claude. He's the one who caused this." Their grip on the boy tightened into more stern one. As Claude looked at him, "You there, why are you holding that boy? Do you know him? You are a noble, aren't you?" "My name is Ryan Ellen." "No, I don't know him. He was injured by one of your carriage horses, so I'm taking him back to my mansion until he is well." "Oh." The boy gazed at them for a few moments, and there was a silence between them until he spoke again. "Well, my name is Alois Trancy, and this is Claude. He is my butler." Alois interrupted himself as his butler before looking back at the boy. "Charmed." Ryan gave a blunt answer before turning to leave. "Wait. Good God. I just want to go home. What more could he possibly need? You know, me and Claude could save you the trouble and take the boy off your pretty hands." Alois smirked and looked into your eye-color eyes. Ryan felt uneasy. They shook their head and began to talk again. No need. I already decided to keep him, and it was nice to meet you, Mr. Alois. Claude, good day. She walked away, her black-heeled boots, or just normal boots, making a clicking sound as they hit the concrete floor, and her clothes flows with them. They glanced at the pair one last time before carrying the boy into the carriage. She sat down and placed the boy onto the seat next to them, with his head on their lap. The carriage started to move, and Wyan saw out the window the strange pair again, looking straight at her until she was out of sight. During the ride, Wyan felt the boy stirring in his sleep, and he wrapped his arms around their waist and nuzzled his face into their stomach before sighing in content. Wyan didn't know how to react at first, but smiled with a tiny blush tinting her cheeks as she began to stroke his hair out of his face. She had always wanted a younger sibling. I'm finally done. Oh no, I'm finally done. Guys, met Alois Trancy. That's nice. I should really read this story. I have no idea what happens next. I should really read it, but I'm not going to because I want to read it with you guys. Whatever. But yeah. I want to guys thank you for all the love and support you've been doing for me. And I'm going to finally try to finish this story up. There is, I don't know how many chapters, but, you know, I'm going to try and finish this story up before the end of this month. Because, you know, yeah, just expect them to be at around midnight, because that's the only time I have to do it, because my parents are have no idea about my channel, and I do not plan to let them know about my channel. No, never. Never in my life are they gonna know about my channel. Yeah, whatever. But, that's beside the point. I need to not. But, yes, mine will be in the middle of the night and stuff like that. And if some of you guys are lucky and you guys are subscribed to me in a different state that have a different time, you might get it during the day. But probably a lot of you guys get it during the nighttime. But, yes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry with my lady, just trying to change it to whatever gender you are, whatever you prefer as. I just, whenever I realized it was kind of too late to fix, so sorry about that, everybody. But yeah. Yeah. And this is not my story. It's a girl that's supposed to be in the story, but I'm going to make everyone be able to read it, so yes. Link in the description for the story and part 1 and 2 if you want to go listen to those two. Bye, everybody.